Good morning, beautiful souls. Look, we have here
Good.
this Miss Ginger Bailey, whose information is on the screen and in the description box below. And we have a fascinating subject that is really perfect for Ginger because she is the medium who deals also with nutrition, fitness, exercise, and all that kind of stuff. And this is about cellulite, the bane of my
Mm.
existence. The serial killer that almost killed me had a comment about my cellulite. You guys all know that story, so I won't repeat it, but he commented on my cellulite. And I thought that was really rude.
What? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah. It was on the
yeah.
beach in Galveston. He was like massaging my legs. And I knew I was, oh my God, I'm going to die. And he's
Oh,
commented on my cellulite. And I
oh
said,
my
that's
God.
really rude for a serial killer. But right before he was about to kill me, he asked me what I did for a living, and I said I'm a physician and a black belt karate instructor, which of course I'm
Oh,
not.
there you go.
But then he went away, and then I found
Yeah.
out on the TV that he was a killing field serial killer in
Oh,
Tennessee. I
wow.
know it's so crazy.
Wow. And your
Right.
stomach shrank and you went and threw up, I would
Yeah,
hope.
really. No, I didn't. For some reason, it didn't really affect me at the time until I found out who he was. Anyway.
That's what I meant when you found out who he was.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me tell you about cellulite, people.
Okay.
Very common, harmless, not to the self-esteem, skin condition where lumpy, dimpled flesh, that sounds terrible, appears in
Mm.
thighs, hips, buttocks, and abdomen. It forms when the fat cells push against the connective tissue beneath the skin, and the tough connective cords pull down, creating the dimpled appearance. I never knew that. So we have all sorts of wonderful questions from the community about cellulite. And Eric is my lovely boy on the other side. I love you, Eric. Thank you
I
for.
love you. He's like, I love you, Mama. I love you. And he's doing this. He's doing this. He says, so many people want to know how to get rid of it, how to get rid of
And we'll probably
cellulite.
get to
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's start. What exactly causes cellulite? And Jen, probably going to, is fascia involved? You're probably going to be able to answer these just because of your knowledge, some of these questions.
Yeah, there's some things though that are going to be spiritual about this too that
Oh,
Eric was
yeah.
talking to me about earlier. Because I've been talking about it with him since yesterday, off and on. Um, so there are different factors that go into this. One of them is genetics, of course, genetics. Okay, um, men and women both have cellulite.
Really,
Okay.
I almost never see men with cellulite, but I guess
They
men
both they
do.
both have it, but the reason why you don't see it really with men is because men carry their body weight up higher and not in the thighs and the lower area of the hips and the buttocks.
All right.
Okay. So that's where it is most prominent because of the thinner skin. So there's
Oh,
thinner skin in those areas. And this is something Eric was telling me was because of the thinner skin and even like he's talking about like people that have like
oh, yeah.
it's more prominent. So most people, like everybody gets it, everybody, even men. Okay.
Right.
It's just more prominent in some than others.
Right.
And he's talking about genetics. He's talking about the structure, the way fat is deposited into the body. And it's more than just fat deposits. He's showing like a circulatory system to this.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And
And you know how the connective tissue goes in? Okay, so the circulatory system, and then you get to the connective tissue with the capillaries where they connect.
right.
Okay. All right. So when you lose circulation in that area, it's like builds that it's messes with the connective tissue there is what he's showing.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because it's not a very cellulite is not very vascular. All right, is it a medical condition or just a cosmetic issue? I would say it's mm,
It's a
cos-
cosmetic issue, but it can be medical. Eric is telling me that it could be medical condition when it gets to a point where it starts cutting circulation off more in certain areas of the body because it can mess with circulation the more cellulite you have in the area.
yeah.
But then we're getting to like things like which could be a whole nother video, like lymphedema,
Oh yeah.
different things like that. But it can get medical, but it's very rare. Okay, very rare. He goes,
Oh
it's
yeah.
very rare, very
Okay.
rare.
Why do women get cellulite more often than men? Is it mostly because of or is it true at all? But is it an estrogen related situation?
It is. It is. That's another thing why men don't have it as much as women is not just where the fat is placed, but estrogen. And estrogen is a hormone that does make us have fat deposits in the lower half of our body to
Right.
protect that area because we make humans, right? So the skin structure, yeah, he's talking about skin structure
Thinner
is
skin,
different.
maybe? We have thinner skin, maybe, or
Thinner skin, the skin structure, the thinner skin, because the fat it's not just like the skin, but he's showing like where the fat deposits on the body. I'm trying to explain what he's showing me. He's showing me like it's almost like it stops. Like if you have a hose, with
right?
fluid going through it, that fat builds up and it stops that circulation, squeezes it off
Yeah, of
and
course.
stops circulation. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we have it more in the lower half, which is the thinner skin and skin structure and the hormones. Absolutely the hormones.
Okay.
What's he saying? Yeah. Yeah. It's
At
the
what
hormones.
age does
Estrogen.
estrogen? At what age does cellulite typically start to appear? I don't see it in any newborns. I guess not.
No, no, it's after puberty. During and after puberty is where it'll
Right.
start to show if there is some
Propensity.
fat, yeah,
Hmm.
fat accumulation in those areas. Fat accumulation in those areas.
It must be related in part to weight gain. Like I remember,
Yes,
I was
yes.
super thin
Fat accumulation.
as
Yes.
adolescent, gained a fairly significant amount of weight, and that's when my cellulite started to appear. So it must be related to
It is
abnormal.
related. However, there are people that can be in good shape, and have a lower body fat and still have it. And that again that comes down to genetics
Genetic.
and estrogen.
Yeah, okay. It's a component that's genetic. This question asks
Yes.
if
Yes.
it's genetic. Are some ethnicities more prone than others? I would think Caucasians and the darker skinned people. I mean, I've seen in my patients that have darker skin that they have cellulite, but they usually
They
takes
do.
a lot
They
more
do.
weight gain
So
than it does in Caucasians. Caucasians seem to get cellulite at a lower weight than darker skinned ethnicities. Maybe.
So interestingly, the reason why you see that is because it's not so much that Caucasian women have it more, or Caucasian people, we could say, have it more than the darker skin. Um, it shows more. The skin is thinner
Uh,
and it's more prominent. He says it's more
okay.
prominent under the skin.
The big
But
triad.
there isn't a ethnicity or race that is more prone to it than others. um,
Okay.
there's body shape. Body, that's interesting.
Oh,
Body
like
shape.
pear shape, pear
Yes,
bodies.
yes, he just
Okay.
showed me like body shape can be like a body type can have it more than others, but not ethnicity or race.
Okay. Is it healthy or beneficial in any way? Or does it mean that you're unhealthy? And does it mean that you're unhealthy?
It doesn't have to mean you're unhealthy, okay? Because
Okay.
again, there's healthy people that can have it. It's just again that at that point it's down to genetics and the and circulatory system. He keeps going back to the circulatory system
Right.
because even that can be connected to genetics too. But most of the time, if you have a good circulatory system, which he's talking about with like there's different lifestyle things that people choose to do, different
Yeah.
diets and smoking and drinking and things that can mess with your circulatory system. That's the
Sure.
biggest one.
Oh,
Okay. And there is energetic connection to this too. So I don't know if there's a question for that. We'll get
there
to it, I
probably
guess,
is
first.
going to
Yeah.
be. Is there a connection between cellulite and lipedema? We've talked a little bit about that, but
A little bit, a little bit.
and does
The
the
lipid,
lymphatic system play a role in the development of it? That's probably along the same lines.
it is a little bit because collagen. Okay, so he's talking about collagen fibers hold fat cells in place, like he's showing how collagen fibers, and when those fibers stretch or break, they lose that circulation and that's one of the main things too that causes it.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. He's talking about something about bulging outwards, like it makes them bulge outwards.
Okay.
Okay, so you get the dimpling effect,
Dimpling
but
effect.
it's actually around that dimple that is the problem.
Oh, interesting. It's around the
So yeah,
facet, the fat
yes,
collection, the containers that collect the fat cells. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We talked about hormones
And
with
but
those.
I wanted to answer real quick. He was talking
Yeah.
about, he said that the lipedema can reduce blood flow. So they can be related. They can be related. Yes.
Okay. Now you probably we already asked talked about hormones. What's the best exercise regimen? This is probably more for you, Ginger, for reducing cellulite, strength training or cardio, or none? Because I've tried both and they don't work.
Diet.
Is
It's
it diet
diet
really
first. It's diet first. You want to bring your body fat down and increase your muscles. So I will say this though, strength training is key. Okay. Whether that's going to be with weights, bands, or yoga or calisthenics. Okay.
right?
Which I think calisthenics are one of the best because you're getting that body and gravity connection,
That's true.
but, what you want to do is you want to replace those areas with muscle tissue because muscle tissue is more
Vascular.
metabolically active and
Yes.
vascular, and you get more circulation going. And actually, muscular tissue, and I'm not talking about bodybuilding to be some big
No,
bodybuilder.
no.
You can get muscle tissue and be strong and get good circulation without that big shape. That's different, but because even that sometimes can be hard on your vascular system if you get too big with muscles
Oh yeah,
because the body is
absolutely.
not made to be like that.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
this will lower your body. If you lower your body fat percentage is what the key is, and to do that it starts in the kitchen. It starts with
Yeah.
diet. Okay,
Diet
but
and then
if you put that muscle tissue on and you strengthen those areas, you'll get more circulation to those areas, to the areas. So it's not one certain exercise, but it's a type of exercise, which is strength training.
right. And that when you have a lot more muscle, then you burn a lot more calories than you
At
would with
rest.
cardio at
Yes.
rest. Right. At
Yes.
rest.
At
Right.
rest. Yes.
Is weight loss alone enough to get rid of cellulite by whatever means, including diet, strength training, etc.?
Yeah. Only if you're focusing on building muscle, because here's the problem when it comes to weight loss. If you focus just on the weight loss part, okay, the first thing that's going is muscle tissue. People think, there's a thought out there that, oh no, it'll be the muscle after the body fat. That's not true. Your body will cannibalize the muscle tissue first
Oh yeah.
if you're not working it out when you're losing weight. So you don't want to be what they call skinny fat, where lose weight, but your body is high in body fat percentage.
Yeah, right. It
So
can
because
happen.
that will hold the the dimples on there, that will hold the cellulite, because fat isn't very vascular. Like we said, it's not vascular at all, actually. It's more of a hormone mover, right?
Right.
So if you want to think of it, the bus for your hormones. But
Cool.
yeah, the more you get your muscle built up on your body, um, the less you have body fat on you if you're eating
Okay.
correctly. Let's put it that
Right.
way.
And Ginger, you help people with that, right? You're a life
Yes,
coach, but you help, including helping with nutrition, exercise, etc. You create protocols for people, tailor made for them, correct?
I do. I do. Now, I don't set up how a diet for people. I don't say, okay, this is what you're going to eat on this day.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
right.
Yeah, but I do an outline for an individual person for what their calories, how
Okay.
much protein they're supposed to get. I do that, but I think it's important for people to learn how to eat
Yeah,
on their own, because it's a lifetime. It's a lifestyle. It's a
that's
change.
true.
Lifestyle changes, and it's not really that hard. Weight loss is not that hard. What's
Yeah,
hard, okay, the concept of weight loss isn't hard, but what's hard is the staying with it, sticking with it,
I
because
know. It's
people,
hard.
have their routines, so they give up easy. It's a slow, boring process, so
True. But it's
you
rewarding. It's
it is.
rewarding.
Now that's a good point, because that's something that I always encourage people that I do these sessions with to set goals, because humans, they don't like change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like change. Set goals, set something to work towards, and it makes it a little easier. And then when you start to see a little bit of change happening, that kind of motivates
The
you. But you
dopamine
won't, yeah,
release goes up. Yeah. So
yeah,
you help them establish goals in your program, correct?
right, right,
Okay.
right,
Okay.
absolutely. Yep.
We're talking about different types of workouts that target cellulite. I know that, like, if you have cellulite in your thighs, thigh work, it's not like toning the thighs. It's the overall body, correct? You can't get rid of
Right,
that
right. You can't
targeted.
spot reduce. You can't
It's
spot
not
reduce,
reduce.
but you can spot build. Okay, think of
Right.
that one. You can build. I mean, if you're just going to sit and, do bicep, do curls, you're going to end up building this muscle and nothing else. So you can do that, but that's not going to really help you. You want an overall change over your body, especially with cellulite, because you want to shrink body fat percentage over the whole body. You can't shrink it in just one area.
Okay.
You can't. Crunches do not make your stomach skinny.
No, they don't.
They build muscle. They
That's right.
actually make it bigger, because you're
Probably
building.
yes.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
building a muscle, but you can
Underlying
strengthen
muscle
your
is
core.
larger. Yeah.
Right, right. And you can strengthen your core, and that's great, but don't think that sit-ups are going to get you a flat stomach.
No,
Abs start in the kitchen.
that's right. Does rebounding, the mini trampoline, help and reduce cellulite? I can imagine you don't even know what
It
it is.
it you know, it will if you're eating in a calorie deficit and you're losing body fat. And you know what? Matter of fact, you don't even have to eat in a calorie deficit if you start doing the trampoline. Okay, you start doing that and you don't change anything on your diet, and that's just extra activity, because you can be in a calorie deficit with activity or with food.
Okay.
I always say do both, but whichever, one is easiest for you at the time. Always take it in steps. You never want to change everything at once, or you just throw it out the window.
Yeah, exactly.
but
Oh
but
God, yeah.
that's a yes. That's a yes to that. That's a yes to that, only because it's going to burn body fat.
Okay.
Cardio is going to burn body fat a little bit, but it does depend on your diet.
Okay. Is there any energetic or spiritual reason for some people to have cellulite or not? Or is it purely
Yes.
physical?
No,
Okay.
yes, there is. Anytime there is something going on with the body that's out of balance, okay,
Okay.
there is something energetic going on, because they work together.
Okay.
So Erik is talking about, well, first of all, when you have anything going on with your body that causes self-confidence issues,
I know.
that's to help you work on self-confidence,
That's
and self-love, to take care of yourself.
makes sense.
Um, Something that he talks about is these things that are emotional patterns, self-punishment, hanging on to anger. Okay.
In
And
the thighs,
I,
hanging on the anger in the thighs. Oh my God,
yeah,
seriously?
yeah. Well, just
But
hanging on to anger can cause cellulite, right? This is Erik, and he doesn't want, he's going, I don't want people to think that they cause their illnesses. Okay. Like if you like have anger issues or depression, you're causing your illnesses, but it is part of it. Like, it's not all of it, but it is part of it.
okay.
And so let's see what else, Erik. Oh, that's interesting. So he's talking about feelings of being stuck or burdened from past lives too,
Oh,
like holding
stuck.
past lives.
Stuck.
Yeah,
Oh,
things that are stuck from past lives.
interesting.
Um,
So maybe a past life regression would help.
that's what I was just asking him. He says yes, or also he says you can do past life regression. Yes, absolutely, it can help, and because that will help you with your self love, that will help you with your self acceptance.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one? What is that? I think Courtney does this. There might be a couple of the mediums, but it's like where they help you with your childhood,
Oh yeah,
like in
release childhood trauma.
yes,
All
yes,
right.
that one. Yes, which, you know, I know you've had a lot of that, so it helps. It helps to release that and
Well,
and deal with it.
but some of it may be trapped emotions in these areas of cellulite.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why he's talking about holding, like when you're holding in your anger. Um so that's interesting. He's talking about like talking negative to yourself, like
Mm.
self
Loathing.
loathing, self like,
Good.
oh, I hate myself, or I'm awful, or I'm terrible, I'm ugly, those kind of things.
Oh, that's so good.
Um, those can cause acne too, by the
I
way.
bet.
It causes an inflammation, and also with cellulite is also inflammation in the body.
Okay.
So any of these kind of negative feelings cause inflammation in the body.
All right. In my weight optimization program, I have instructions to eliminate or help eliminate the cellulite. And in the main service to get rid of trapped emotions. And of course, there's the self-love, trauma release, and inner child healing.
Oh, that's
All
good.
those three together probably would help with the cellulite, I guess, right?
It would. It would. However, you need to know too that you have to stay on it. You have to
Yeah,
take
you
care of
still have
your
to do the
health.
work. Yeah, you still have to do the work, people.
Yeah, because if you're sitting there smoking, drinking Pepsi, this is Eric. He's going eating potato chips and sitting on the couch. It's not gonna, you know what I
No,
mean? It's
no,
not gonna
no.
help. It's not gonna help because you want that. Oh, that's interesting. He's going. You want that area to be active too. Like the
Okay.
more active walking's a big one because that moves static energy in your body along with circulation. So anything that
Circulation.
helps circulation.
Okay. What about massage therapy or dry brushing, which I've never heard of? Interesting. Does that help reduce cellulite? Massage therapy and dry brushing.
It does
Hmm.
because, and there's other things too. He's talking about that are like minimal invasive type treatments. It helps it because remember you're moving the lymphatic, the
Okay.
circulation and lymphatic system. You're making it like circulate, and it
Oh,
also helps with the vascular circulation too. Um, Something that he's saying though, and this is not to cause any kind of like, you know, uh, stress about it or, oh my God, I'm never going to
okay.
get rid of it, is that you can't quite get rid of it completely, but you can make it non-prominent
Okay.
because
It's the appearance. Yeah.
once a tissue is torn, ripped, and destroyed, okay, it's hard to put it back. All
Uh,
right, just like if you have brain tissue, right, and you have no circulation to it, it's gone. You
right.
can't regenerate it.
Yeah, won't regenerate.
So right, with this area where in the areas
Oh,
where you lose this circulation, he's talking about the fibers being stretched, pulled, or
okay.
broken. It's almost like pulling a rubber band out of shape, but you can lessen the looks of it, the
Okay.
prominence of it.
All right. Four more questions for part one, people. I
Oh,
want you to go ahead and hit the notification bell, hit subscribe and the like button, please. I would really appreciate it. All right. First of these four questions, what diet can help? The carnivore, keto, vegan, paleo. What do you recommend, Ginger and Eric?
um, personally, me, Ginger, I recommend that people don't restrict, that they eat healthy, depending on because some people can't tolerate certain foods.
Right.
So the foods that you can tolerate, whole foods, healthy foods, as in,
Not
and I give,
processed foods and
yeah, not
ultra
processed foods.
processed. Yeah.
No, no,
Right.
anything that comes from a tree or an animal. If you eat animals, fruits, vegetables, lean meats. Okay. Something though that Erik is talking about, and this is kind of interesting. He's talking about berries, leafy greens, fatty fish, things like that, because those are good for the vascular system.
Okay.
Okay. So we want to feed the vascular system, and you want to lower your body fat, and you
Yeah.
want to build muscle. Those three
Right.
things right there will help you get rid of it.
Okay.
And just to let people know really quick, it doesn't take much exercise to get your body to grow muscle. All
Yeah.
right, and I do go over that too. I go over those kind of things too with my
Program.
sessions.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the program, it gives it to you. I
That's
give you a
awesome.
whole outline.
Good. Um, are there certain vitamins, herbs, or supplements that are helpful?
There is. I always suggest though to try to get it from your foods. If it's something that you can't, that your body can't naturally make, or you can't get from the food that you're eating, or maybe it's foods that you can't tolerate or eat, then yes, supplementation, always go that way. But remember, focus on circulatory. So things that help the circulatory system. CoQ10 is a good
Okay.
one.
Okay.
I don't know every single like herb. I used to know
Yeah.
a lot of them,
Yeah.
but zinc is a good one.
Okay.
Vitamin B12 is a
Vitamin
good
E,
one.
probably.
Yeah, yeah, vitamin B
Oh,
complex. Those
okay.
those help the stress on the system on the body. So those
Good.
are good. Yeah.
What about collagen or hyaluronic acid? Does that improve cellulite? I mean, I didn't know
A
you could
little
do
bit,
that.
a
But I
little
mean,
bit.
a dosage. So they're talking about eating I didn't know that that was possible. I know there's topicals. Maybe that's what they're talking about. Well,
Oh yeah, you can eat
anyway,
collagen.
really?
Collagen is just a protein. Oh yeah, I
Okay.
have it. I have it in powder form.
Well, seems
You
like
can
it
put
would
it in
be
your
destroyed.
coffee.
Seems like it would be destroyed with the peptic acid in the stomach. It breaks
No,
the amino acids.
no, because I mean, you get amino acids and proteins in your protein powders too. You can take straight amino acids. People do that all the time. It's
Yeah.
supplementation. This is supplementation.
Okay.
But what I would say is it would take a lot of collagen. Okay.
Oh
So
boy.
yes, it will help, but it's not going to again get rid of it completely. Like it's not going to regenerate that tissue that's already torn, ripped, and destroyed, but it is going to make it less prominent on you.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of like stretch marks. Eric just
Yeah.
said that
Yes.
that's a good point. He goes, you can't put that skin back together once it
No,
stretches it out.
not happening.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't
Nope.
have that gene.
Nope. Yeah, you can just make them less prominent. And then let's see, was
That's
he
super genetic stretch marks are.
They are. They are. Oh, okay. So he's saying that they have some minimal invasive like things out there like Q what is this? Collagen stimulating. It's like a
Oh,
collagen
really?
stimulation. Yeah. And there's some other ones they can check like radio frequency he's talking about. So I
Cool.
don't know what these are.
We'll definitely talk more about
Yeah.
those kind of approaches. What about fasting, like 48 to 72-hour water fasts? And in general,
This is this
drinking a
is
lot of
just
water.
yeah, always yes. Always drink a lot of water. Always hydrate. Hydrate's a big
For cellulite reduction?
yeah, for cellulite,
Some of
for
those things.
inflammation. It's not going to just focus just on the cellulite, of course, but you want to stay hydrated because helps the skin regenerate. And remember, this is in our tissue. We're talking
Right.
about tissue,
That's right.
and so whatever helps the skin helps the fat tissue, helps the muscle tissue, helps the circulatory system. Um, yeah, hydration is very important.
Very important.
Absolutely, very important.
At the end
Yes.
of part two, I'm going to ask you for what basically is your daily regimen in every aspect. But if that's okay. But right now, we're
Hmm.
going to stop and we're going to go to part two. So you guys don't miss part two. And of course, check out Ginger and check out her programs in the description box. And they're so reasonable. You will be very happy with her. All right. Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye, everyone.